We'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which this project is created, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We would also like to pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging.
Settle down and gather round for another tale. In the world of Nuar, where time has carved and cultivated a magical utopia of wonder, a small group of adventurers unlock the deep mysteries of the land, its people, and themselves. Welcome to the Down Under Dungeon podcast.
Hey, Suze. Well, what a time, eh? That mage fellow didn't particularly like the fact that the professor broke her own archaeological rules about not touching anything, and though we tried to talk him out of attacking us, he wouldn't hear a word, going on about a magic called chronomancy and that we should pay for the crimes of our ancestors, which, by any leap of logic, is frankly insane. He then banished the professor and raised spirits like the Arcanites raised them back in the henge in the city. Holly took advantage of our distraction in that moment, and confirming that we were right to be suspicious of her, slipped all of our notice, blew Qwig a kiss, and jumped through the portal, sealing herself within the lost history we'd just discovered and leaving the mage out here with us. He was angry, grieving, lost, and lashing out at the closest target, seeing his life's work ripped away and his home destroyed. He was brutal, counterspelling almost everything as we worked to try and destroy the pottery around the room that held the guardian spirits he kept conjuring. I did find out within this, though, that this old girl can take some serious hits, as the spirits, these decorated fish-helmed aquatic-looking things, lashed out with their old dead magic, and nothing really seemed to happen. Seems death can maybe no longer hurt me. Very cool. I do hate to think about what that means in the long run. And I keep thinking I can hear things in here, like the water dripping when the coin dropped in the well, and the voices that have followed me through this place. And they've started to sound like you're trying to call me home, Susan. I don't know what that means. The rest of the battle was brutal, with the mage bending time to his favor. Feng set Prony to smash into the jars, and Lysandra called her shadow to order. Qwig started to bend light and make it solid, and we worked to split the mage's focus enough that he wouldn't outright kill all of us. However, Qwig and Feng still went down, as did Lysandra. All hope seemed to be lost, but teamwork and old gifts brought us back to standing as the professor was finally returned, and Lysandra finally ended the mage, leaving nothing but a paradox of a wand that has both existed and not within the space we reside in. Going to be honest, nothing makes sense. I am fucking exhausted and overloaded with information. I've got to go do some more digging and research and try to understand all this stuff. I'll get back to you soon. I love you. Louis.
Well, at least next time, or, well, when I roll another d20 and I'll get a nat 20, it'll be fine.
If
it ever happens again.
If it ever happens, which now you've continued to curse me.
Alright, banter.
I thought that's what we were doing.
We're already there.
Oh, we're already bantering? Oh, aren't you all good?
Have we already been recording?
Yeah.
Okay, well then we've been bantering.
We've banter.
We've just been recounting the tales of last week's episode.
Yeah.
I needed like several naps after that.
Yeah. I still need a nap, honestly.
Yeah, honestly.
It's been a week and I need a nap.
I'm kind of scared to hear from the professor to see what she saw, because she seems a little traumatized, and we're kind of used to the trauma, but I'm a little worried about her.
What happened? Did she tell him?
Whoa!
Got banished into just a river?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's something fishy going on here, but, you know.
God.
Maybe she's from the elemental plane of water.
As a fox person?
I don't know.
Maybe she's a fox fish. They could exist like a catfish.
No, they were wearing not mirror armor. They were wearing like fish scale armor, so they were maybe from a.
So was their original city like an underwater Atlantis style?
This is the story of Atlantis. Yes.
Yes. It's cool.
It's all coming together.
Appani, Atlantis.
Atlantis to Milo's return.
Yeah.
So who's Milo?
You all wish you were cool enough to be Milo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude.
But let's be honest, Feng is closest.
Is he?
Is he?
Qwig?
Probably Qwig.
Yeah, Qwig.
Qwig has the glasses.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I'm
Whoa! Wait,
Yeah.
does Qwig have actual glasses?
saying.
Yes.
Nerd. Okay.
You could just... Okay, so next time, instead of giving Lysandra like a nat 1,
Looking at
just
bizarre.
break Qwig's glasses.
I'll break Jeremy's glasses right now.
This is all fucked up.
I'm sorry, non-glasses wearers are outnumbered at the table right
Yeah,
now.
it's
Sorry.
fact.
Yeah.
Oh no, what are you gonna do?
Oh, God.
Blur at us? Okay.
I cast blur.
What are you doing?
On all of you.
What are you gonna do? Fail a driving exam? Oh no. Squint at the TV.
All right, get to the episode.
Tell me, ask me what that sign means.
Shut up.
Let's get to it.
As the dust begins to settle and the final wails from the conjured protectors dissipate, you are once again confronted with the forever gloom of the former canal city of Apartos. The professor emerges from behind the rubble, shaking and slowly calling out repeatedly. Holly? Where's Holly? Where did she go?
Feng will kind of kneel down to her and put an arm on her shoulder and go, Professor, I don't really want to break your heart or anything or make you upset, but Holly kind of abandoned you. She seemed to be waiting for this moment.
No, I abandoned her. That scholar cast a spell on me and I was whisked away.
You were banished? She took that moment to, while you weren't looking, jump through the portal and close it behind her.
Louis is right, and as much as it sucks, and you didn't do anything wrong by having a spell cast at you. He clearly just saw that you were a threat and wanted to take you out.
You see, she goes, well, I would hope as a professor of anthropology I'd be able to provide more than that. Well, she went through the portal, back to the civilization when it was anew.
Yeah, so she's in the past. Is there any way that she can, fuck us up?
You see the professor looks around and says, well, if it was any immediate, I feel like we would already know, wouldn't we?
That's a good point.
Like if she had done anything to that device. Is the device that we saw that the professor touched still here?
The fired device is still on the ground, though, heavily damaged.
What happened to the sorcerer? His body and the wand and stuff? Is it
His
still
body
there?
still remains there, the wand is still there.
Oh, Qwig still has the gem. Is it still glowing?
Yeah, you still see that you have it in the palm of your hand. It's almost like...
Qwig is so distracted. He then just jumps onto the one. He's like, there!
gosh.
My opportunity has come while he's
like
dead.
a cat.
you
And plugs
see
it on.
Qwig very unceremoniously and undignified.
Still on the ground. I never got up.
Just kind of rolls over and, I don't know, starts battering a corpse to get
His wand is under his body, so I'm rolling him over.
truly a bastion of civilization reduced to a ragdoll.
I'm correcting a potential rift in space-time.
Yeah.
Okay, don't look at me like that.
You reattach the wand. You reattach the crystal to the shaft and the wand becomes whole again. A familiar heat spreads through your fingers, but not a burning one this time. And you see the cracks on the crystal do begin to mend, but you still see a faint outline of them. As it seems, the paradox has been somewhat corrected, but will never not be a paradox of itself. And you feel that this is powerful enough to become an arcane focus, but you'll need to attune to it if you want to use it.
Yeah, Qwig's like, I better keep this on me for now.
Nice new wand, Qwig.
I still got my wand. I'm not saying I'm going to use it. I just, it should be studied.
You see the professor says, yes, well, even without that scary wizard and with his device no longer operational, I do still think there is enough information here for me to write my brief and begin a formal paper on the Appani. I obviously have asked so much of you now, and with Holly gone, I know that is kind of a loose cannon, but there's not much I can do about that now. But I ask you, please do not speak of this discovery to anyone in Overture. Should other eyes in the city turn to exploit this new opportunity for their own gain, we could see similar results as for that of Europium. Okay, were you?
Sorry, there was so much information in that.
As with the Europium, I think that was a lot.
Yeah, and she's asked us to not tell anyone. So Feng will probably use that moment to try and leverage some stuff as well and go, well, Professor, yeah, we agree that we probably shouldn't tell anyone, but I feel like that has to kind of build a certain trust between us, and I feel like you probably have some stuff to tell us.
What was it you'd like to know?
There just doesn't seem to be enough information for us to figure out a clearer picture, and there seems to be maybe some meddling by some governments or, Jarls running these cities. And I just think it's kind of curious that you were sent by the Jarl of Feldspar to investigate Europium, and then you were told to change your mind and investigate other things, and you somehow landed here. I'm just looking to see if there's anything more that you can tell us about that.
And how did you meet Holly?
You see the professor thinks for a moment and says, well, yes, I was coming here to study Europium, but halfway through, the decision was made that I would change my research topic to these Appani artifacts. Holly was assigned to me just after that.
So you were told to investigate the Appani, so that you already knew that there was some civilization apart from wood elves here.
Sorry, I'm calling it now the Appani because now I know what it is.
Oh, okay.
At the time I did not know that. Well, yes, it does seem to be a bit odd, but I just assumed that because there had been so much work done by the prospecting company and the elves of Bientiorum that perhaps they didn't need an extra opinion. Unless, and you see, she thinks for a moment, I know the Four Eyes likes to represent itself as an independent institute, but there has been one or two coin pouches slipped in different pockets in order to influence the direction of the institute. So I will not pretend that our institution is beyond any type of tampering or bribe.
I'm curious, has anyone tried to bribe you in Laludrud?
She's gonna roll a history check. After a few weeks of setting up my tent, I was visited by these two ruffians, referred to themselves as the Burrowers. They were seeking taxation or dues so that they wouldn't set my tent aflame. I reminded them that I had diplomatic immunity from the Jarl, and they quickly left and did not bother me again. But that is the only kind of influence I get. But I will admit, all of my funding comes from the Jarl of Feldspar, not the Jarl of Laludrud. Sigurd Scruff only allows me here by his pleasure, not by his coin.
That makes sense. So I don't know if we can do anything about Holly, though.
You see she turns.
She's like, I guess keep an eye out if she's written anything for us in the past before she perished alongside this ancient civilization.
Yeah, did you and Holly have a way of, sending each other messages?
Why would I have...
I was more talking to the Professor, Qwig, but I mean, you and Holly seem to have a thing going on.
You see the professor turns, yes, Qwig, you and Holly did share a deep relationship.
No, we didn't.
And you had no...
We spoke 3 times.
You had no recollection of any of this kind of behavior she might exhibit? Were there any signs?
Well, there was the signature forging and maybe not answering questions about how long she had known you. But some of the stuff just seemed like she was insecure.
She used silvered weapons, and so did the Arkanites.
Very stingy with her food.
You can all make intelligence checks now to try and place Holly's part in this.
Sorry. Qwig got a nat 20.
Oh. I won't even listen to anyone else.
Good.
Good.
So
Qwig, you know deep down in your heart you...
Oh my god, maybe I did have a deep connection with Holly. Oh my god.
Oh no.
You realise deep down you deeply love Holly. No,
I don't.
No.
It's impossible.
You're starting to put things together. You're starting to put together the device, the blue vial of liquid that obviously charges and powers the device. And then you also remember back to the henge with the Arkanites and the similar blue vial used there. With that nat 20, it seems that Holly had already been to this place weeks, if not months, before you arrived here. And upon discovering some of these artifacts, she must have leaked some of their discovery in order to get the professor to mount an expedition.
Wait, Holly had been to this place?
It didn't look like anyone had been here in...
Yeah, even the professor
Long ever.
smelled dead air, and we found no tracks nowhere.
Yes, well, as a mastermind rogue, Holly is very good at covering her tracks. And so with that nat 20, it seems that she, as someone who has heightened knowledge in arcane synthesis and the use of arcane solvents and things like that, she knew that what she had was powerful and potentially very valuable, but given its ancient nature, she wasn't willing to use it on herself without having a few guinea pigs in the way. And so therefore, by leaking these artifacts back to the professor, she was able to encourage her to mount an expedition to find this place. And obviously the Arcanites somehow were given one of these vials as a first initial attempt to see how the spell or what would happen to them.
I'm guessing Holly did that to test it out, and
You also remember they had silver weapons as well.
yeah, we
Yeah, we made that connection at least.
That's what you get with that 20.
we even tried to compare one of them to Holly's dagger to see if it was the same.
No, she did.
That's why I said we.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said we hadn't.
No, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Feng, you realise you still have the map that you discovered in the room.
Yeah, Feng will pull the map out and say, I found this. This might be able to help us.
You place Promi back into your lantern to give the professor some light, and after a while, she confirms that this map will enable you to move in this complex much more easily, bypassing hazards and encounters. But she's also notices the moon gate in the middle, and she's going to make an intelligence check here to try and decipher the hieroglyphs.
Can I help her?
You sure can. That's a 19 with that on the dice.
We're deep in discussion.
Yeah.
We're theorizing, code cracking.
I think as they're kind of co-cracking, Louise just sort of off to the side of the group, realizing that she can't feel her heart beating, following on from the fact that she did not take damage from the necrotic, whatever the heck was happening in the last battle. I think she's just kind of coming to terms with that.
With the help from Qwig, the professor connects the notes on the desk with the map in such a way where she believes the moon gate could be manipulated to not just summon, but transport. Should they be able to manipulate the sand and stones around the gate, they could travel to other such nexuses the Appani has established. One of these connections is close to the city of Laladrud, a familiar cluster of stones representing the henge upon which you encountered the Arcanites.
Ding, ding, ding.
As I said, this map will assist you in getting back, but you will still need to make 3 Constitution saving throws in making it out of this place. You have no food left, so you need to pass these, otherwise you will be taking levels of exhaustion. Yes, is there anything you want to do?
Would I... I'm not asking to do this in general. I think just looking at how they're deciphering the map, would I have gotten the idea that the professor would have any ability to tell what the last word the guy said was before he disappeared?
Yes, you can give the professor a help action on her history check because she was in distress.
Yep.
She was an 18 on the dice.
Hell yeah.
She says, yes, I believe it's a rudimentary dialect, but it's a similar word for demon.
Interesting.
Yeah, looking at Lysandra.
Yeah, so just a reminder for our audience, he said that while looking at Lysandra, right?
While Lysandra was dealing the killing blow.
Okay.
Okay, there's not much point in staying here unless you want to grab anything else out on your way.
Qwig, do you want to grab any documents or bits and pieces?
They're all broken.
Fair enough.
Maybe it's best to leave it. Maybe someone else will know how to recover them safely without damaging them.
Alright, it'll take you roughly 3 days with the professor deciphering the map to avoid obstacles and Feng using his light to help. So you all need to make a Constitution saving throw on the first day.
Can we just confirm what was our food rules again?
So it is 1 day plus your Constitution modifier. Okay, so all of you have 1 level of exhaustion at the end of this day. You will need to make 3 Constitution saving throws in order to get out of here.
Ouch. So what happens at 1 level of exhaustion?
You have a disadvantage on ability checks.
Oof.
Oh god.
But not saving throws.
But
At least
not
it's not
saving
saving.
throws.
Thank God.
Now, given these are all on for a day, you can use your abilities if you want to. Please roll day 1.
Okay.
Did anyone roll below a 10?
Feng.
Feng, you gain another level of exhaustion. As you make your first day through, I'm going to need a Constitution saving throw for the second day.
So what happens at 2 levels of exhaustion?
It's disadvantage on speed half.
So
Okay.
does that affect us?
That
Does that
will not
affect
with
our
the
movement?
map.
Okay. Second one.
Qwig rolled under. Got a 3.
Lysandra rolled a 7.
Okay, so Lysandra fails, Qwig fails. Okay, day 3.
Okay, final one.
Final one.
Let's go. Feng failed.
Qwig also failed.
Okay, with 3 levels of exhaustion for Feng and Qwig, your speed is halved, you have disadvantage on checks, and saving throws now with 3
Attack
levels.
rolls and saving throws.
Attack rolls and saving throws.
I'm feeling really fucking tired and I want to get back to La Ladrud. I'm over this. Get me back right now. I'm getting angry.
Knowing now what you do and what this place is, the return journey is more familiar but no less eerie. Understanding that the expansive networks were only a precursor to a once ancient metropolis leaves your head reeling with more and more questions. Almost dizzy with exhaustion, the blinding pinprick of light marking the exit of the moon gate offers such a respite and reprieve. Clawing and salivating for fresh air, you burst into the late afternoon sun. The warmth of the sun and sand a salve for your cold and weary bodies. After a beat, as you all collapse to the ground, the professor pulls out her stolen charts and map and begins deciphering. Would you like to all take a long rest?
So was that 3 days travel out of there?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, right. Yes, you are still healthy, but you definitely need food.
Yeah, so I guess now that we're finally back in civilization, can Feng use his background to get some small gain and fruit and nuts for his party?
Make me a nature check.
With disadvantage.
Louis has proficiency in nature. Can I please give Feng the help action?
You can go for it.
Oh, thank you. I need that. Now it's flat. I've got a +1 to this roll, so
Come on, you can do it.
Nat 1.
Oh my god, Feng, you start to hear the dripping of the well.
I could get in that fucking well, get that. Sorry, Feng just starts screaming at the ground.
And that critical failure turns into a critical success.
Holy shit.
You guys start to hear a
Starting to believe.
hum. And then the humming gets louder and louder. And all of a sudden, this migrational swarm of locusts flies overhead. Feng ignites in his weary state.
Feng fires off like 2 burning hands, 2 scorching rays. He's got Promi up there like spitting balls of fire at them.
Like a falcon in a cloud of bats. And you see Feng is able to produce enough protein out of these cicadas. Feng, give me a nature check again, with this time with advantage.
Oh, even though I've got 3 levels of exhaustion?
Yes, so it's just flat.
Thank you.
Because
Nature? 4.
Feng, with that 4, you know that there are certain conditions for locusts to swarm, but you can't really put your finger on it.
That's important for later.
As you finally eat, your counter is reset to 0, thank goodness.
Thank God.
And the sun is beginning to set. The professor walks up to you and says, it appears that the moon gate is celestial in nature, in that it often has to do with what's happening in the sky. Hence, with the summoning of the spectral guardian with the moons, it appears that if we match the constellations in the sky to the moon gate, we might be able to open up some of these paths and connections. And she raises an index finger at this and says, one small problem. All of these stars no longer exist because this was prior to the Great Cataclysm. So, I theorize if we can move around some of this debris in the circle and replicate the star's constellation, it might be able to jumpstart the magic of the moon gate.
Louis kind of looks a bit confused and asks, rocks on the ground for stars in the sky?
Well, yes, if the stars no longer exist in the sky, maybe we can create a mirror image on the ground here using stones and the sand.
And what will that do?
Hopefully awaken some kind of latent magic in this gate here. And she pats the moon gate affectionately.
Is that a good idea?
And we don't really have much of another one.
Yeah, okay.
Do you want to walk starving back to Laludrud?
I can keep finding locusts.
I rest my case.
What do you need us to do? Yeah.
Still. Just like little like honey.
Yeah, I've got like a popcorn bucket of...
Yeah. So crunchy. It's so satisfying.
You see the professor puts you all to work. She's going to need a athletics check from Feng in order to move some of the larger boulders, and we'll need a sleight of hand check from Qwig to help her position the smaller stars in their rightful orientations.
Disadvantage, let's go.
Lysandra has proficiency athletics. Can she give Feng the help action?
Sure can.
Thank you, I'm rolling flat.
And Louis has proficiency in sleight of hand with the Jack of all trades feature, so she's going to give the help action to Qwig for the small things.
All right, that makes it much more manageable for us. Let's go. Feng got a 22 for athletics.
Qwig got a 10, sleight of hand.
Okay, that is a success. Once the arrangements are finalized, a powerful silence befalls the moon gate and its surroundings. Almost as if the gate is absorbing the energy from the atmosphere around it. Loose stones and sand collect on the gate itself and begin to become dislodged and shake free as the ground beneath you shakes. Suddenly, a dot of brilliant white light appears centrally in the gateway. The dot lengthens to the diameter of the circular gate before tearing apart, replicating an incorporeal pale curtain, obscuring the far side of the gate, which now appears translucent and undulating. I will now enable you all to make final checks. You see with the ground shaking, it's starting to dislodge the movement of the rocks around it a little bit, so this might be a temporal connection. As you push through the gate, Louis, you hear that one final goodbye from the entrance of the Appani. Pushing your way through the curtain, you feel the sensation of walking through warm water. And just as you feel as though you cannot swim any longer, the sensation slams to your feet and dissipates. And as soon as you open your eyes, you are standing right in front of the stone plinth in the middle of the Arcanite henge. Before you can see or do anything, you jolt at a sensation almost foreign to you, having spent so much time on the frontier. Rain, cool droplets, striking your face and carving away at the dirt and grime you have sustained for the last fortnight. Wind whips at your sides and claws at your clothes. The stones around the henge seemingly hum with a low melodious sound as they are bombarded by the water droplets. Turning back to the curtain through which you came, you do see a flutter and distortion in the air, suggesting the magic is still operating and must work both ways.
Oh no.
Feng is not normally a fan of rain, but it's the first time back outside in like 3 weeks more, so he's just going to swim in the dirt.
Give me either nature or perception checks, whichever one you'd like.
Everyone?
Everyone.
Okay.
Ooh.
Also a disadvantage.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Not you. Or do you still have a...
I still have a level.
Anyone
Okay.
with 1 level has disadvantage.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't. That's a natural 20.
Natural 20.
So 25 in total for perception.
Anyone beat that?
No.
No.
Louis, you definitely lead the way. Being the granny of the group, it does mean you're left alone mostly in the combat situations, but when everyone is hurt, this is your time to shine. And using your sword to try and steady yourself, you start to move your weary and tired party back to the city. Directly above the Udrud Gorge, encasing the surrounds in a shroud of heavy rain, is a huge maelstrom, with clouds in deep shades of grey and black, angry and billowing. As you begin to make your way down to Lal Udrud, you see the impacts of sudden rains on an environment not conditioned to it. Torrents of brown, muddy water cascade down the path and off the side of the gorge. These channels of least resistance give rise to waterfalls, cascading off stones and into ravines. Trying not to sleep, wiping the wet and grime away from your eyes, as you return to the city proper, you begin to see Louis with that nat 20, the denizens of the tent city, moving towards you in the dying light. Children and elders rejoice in the thoroughfare, holding up canisters or any other vessel that holds water, jumping into vast puddles and chasing each other all around. 1 or 2 of the Jarl's deputies can be seen, standing at a distance, but still in total disbelief of this miracle occurring. Lysandra, can you make me a religion check, please?
Of course.
Can I give you a bardic?
That would be amazing.
You're helping them down the slope, so yes,
Yeah.
you can give them a buddy.
I think I want to flavour it as Louie's been kind of guiding everyone. She's used her creation magic to form up a huge big beach or golf umbrella that everyone's kind of huddling under as we're moving down. It is beautiful, kind of like orange waterproof silk, and is big enough to cover the entire party because it is a size medium umbrella.
Cute.
That's adorable. That's going to be a 9.
Even with a 9, the only thing that unsettles you as a follower of Kastar is that you don't know many maelstroms that don't exhibit lightning. With the rain unrelenting and the night quickly approaching, what would you like to do? You still have the professor with you?
Louis turns to the professor and asks, is your place waterproof? Is all your stuff protected?
You see, she immediately goes, wait, my stuff. Oh my god, my stuff. And she takes off towards the Four Eyes outpost.
Can we stay there too?
I think we have to help her get her stuff organized.
You all trail off after the professor as she slams off through the mud. Pushing your way back through the sheets of rain, following the professor and trotting the familiar yet inundated path back to the Four Eyes outpost, you blissfully see smoke rising from the brazier's chimney and light spilling from the tent's opening. You burst inside and are barraged with the smell of damp and wet. The carpets are no longer placed on the sodden ground, but are tied to the rafters and draped over shelves. At the sound of your intrusion, you notice 2 shivering ears sticking out of a poncho bob up over the countertop, revealing the small face of Irene.
Aww.
You see she's carrying a large stick with her at the intrusion and says, "Oh, it's just y'all. Oh, that's so good. I'm so happy you guys are back, but you're back so soon. What happened?"
Louis kind of turns to her, sort of like patting her on the shoulder a little bit, slips her a hard candy and says, we had an adventure, kiddo.
You're telling me it was a bit of an adventure around here as well. And she gestures to the Four Eyes outpost behind her. You see that she's clearly been working around the clock to keep everything dry. You see scattered around the floor like basins and small glasses, catching drips of water pooling on the canvas. And you see that she's frantically burning incense to try and cover up the smell of wet dog and paper.
Qwig just chimes in. Irene, how long has it been raining?
It's been going on for about 4 days and 4 nights now, I ponder. It's been putting a big old tizzy in things. We've had to push back the election for a couple of days at least until it finishes. But I tell you what, there's some whisperings going around about a certain someone who they say conjured this storm to save us all.
Let us take one guess who. Is it Yellen by any chance?
Oh, you've met the Mother Yellen.
Yeah, she talks about some goddess of rain, so it's not fucking hard to work out. These fucking gods of rain and bullshit.
Lysandra speaks up.
Hang on. Irene makes a charisma saving throw and rolls a nat 2.
Sorry.
You see, for the first time in her life, Irene has been made fun of a lot by people who she doesn't care about.
That was not my intention.
But she's never been made fun of someone who's she considers a friend. And that stung a little bit.
Can I just lean down and give her a hug?
She's wet through.
That's fine.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, your guess is as good as mine, Feng. I don't know anything about all this spiritual mumbo-jumbo.
I'm sorry, Irene. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
Hey, look.
I'm just over all the bullshit.
I mean, yes. I mean, well... And look, let's be real. You also look like a drowned rat that's been put through the ringer a couple of times. So I don't fault you for being snippy.
Yeah, no worries. We'll call it even. I deserve that.
I guess you'll also notice Ganymede isn't here.
Yeah, what did happen to your friend?
Well, Ganymede was recalled to help ensure peace in the lower gorge, apparently. Given the destruction of all the water and the increase in lootings, the Jarl has been thrown off and is kind of in panic mode at the moment. Many are blaming him for not listening to the spiritual circles in the city, which might have caused this. It's not looking good for the Jarl.
Oh, Sigurd, what have you got yourself into? I'll go talk to him in the morning.
I don't know if he's gotten himself into anything. I think it's whatever Yellen has brought onto this city.
100%. She's just saying it in the way of an exasperated
Yeah.
Can't imagine. I mean, maybe it helped Yellen in the immediate moment when she summoned the rain, supposedly, but people wouldn't be too happy with her now.
Well, I mean, considering, and Feng is not saying this out loud, this is Daniel talking to the other players, considering the bear and Co have a literal water stealing ring leading people into the city and taking water. Now someone's just making it rain nonstop.
Yeah, taking responsibility.
I can't imagine many people are going to be happy with this.
Yeah. I think as we're kind of chatting about it, Louis is going to look at Lysandra and go, Wasn't she Sister Yellen just a few days ago? What does the title of Mother mean?
You think back to the tears of Persephone and the tattoo on Kukak's forehead.
Yes, she was going by sister, but I think she's been tattooing people, spreading the word of Persephone, and I fear it's gotten a little bit out of hand. Maybe we should visit her.
Is that not what you're meant to do as a cleric, though? Is like spread the word of your god?
Yes, it is, but...
Is that something the elders did at the Priory of Sky? Did they tattoo people to induct them into that religion?
You will recall, Lysandra, that there was no... there was some, if a devotee wanted to express themselves in that way, they were not dissuaded from doing so. But there was no formulation of this in terms of a practice of the priory. You do remember how Yellen did describe these people as savages. And so perhaps this is some way of her thinking that this taps into that barbaric streak or sense of identity on the frontier.
No, not exactly. I am concerned that she's taking advantage of the self-expressive nature of Lala Druid and the people here, and using that to spread her word, or spread the word of Persephone.
You see Irene pipes up. That seems pretty efficient to me. Well, hell, I maybe go see what she's talking about if she's got all these people under her thumb.
No, I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Irene, what happened last time?
Oh, right.
Let's give yourself some power, embrace that rather than trying to get under the feet of other people. You're a strong young woman.
Oh, I'm great at getting I'm great at getting under other people's feet. And she starts scrambling under Feng to try and trip him up.
Well,
I think-
he's 2 levels of exhaustion, so she probably does.
Just goes down without
Yeah.
a fight.
he chooses to fail.
I think Lysandra sees Irene scrambling around and squats down to her, sort of to be on her level, and pulls out her dagger and passes it to Irene. Don't go and see Sister Yellen. This will protect you more than a tattoo will. Trust me.
She's going to take the dagger, and she kind of goes, well, Poppy never let me have any weapons on the ranch. He says I'm all fingers and thumbs. I definitely stabbed myself, so... She's great.
Lysandra, maybe you
She
should teach her how
runs
to use
away
it.
with the knife.
Oh, you see
Keep
she
going.
scrambles away with the knife in her teeth.
Wait,
No, she's gone. As you all retire for the night, you move back to the brazier. It is still damp in here, but with Feng's fire magic, he's able to dry out some of the carpets and enable you a soft place to sleep. As you finally start to drift away, and you take in the sounds of rain pitter-pattering on the canvas, we're going to check in with all of our heroes at the end of this expedition. What is the last thing your hero thinks of before they drift off to sleep? Feng.
Feng is probably thinking about the party, honestly, and how far they've come through this. I guess we've known each other now, like, in-world for 6 to 8 weeks, pretty much. You know, he was the one who kind of got them kicked off the caravan in the first place and put those wheels into motion by wanting to follow.
It feels like a lifetime.
It does. Put those wheels into motion for them going after the bandits in the first place. And he's probably just like thinking to himself and whispering to himself as he goes to sleep of like how much these friends mean to him and like how comfortable he feels around these people, as well as just like, oh, I wonder what we're going to name our group. We're going to be the coolest group around. People are going to talk about us everywhere we go, and maybe we'll be able to solve all these problems.
So his Feng is filled with a sense of purpose.
Yes.
Louis, what are you filled with?
Oh, Jesus. Ask a simpler question.
Yeah.
Arthritis.
fixed hips.
Yeah. She's sore, she's tired, coming off of 2 weeks walking in the desert and then several days crawling through tunnels and history. And looking through this desiccated and forgotten place, she can't help but feel almost a sense of kinship. And not just in the way that it reached out to her, not just in the melodies that have been playing in her head or the voices that have been calling, but in the fact that Today she saw a long dead civilization, even momentarily, even through some kind of rift, come back to life. And reflecting on the fact that she's now aware that she can't feel her own heart beating in her chest. The fact that something that was dead came back to life for a moment. She's wondering why that hasn't been but a moment for her. Why it's been so long since that moment where she was not meant to be here anymore. Why is she still alive?
As you process these feelings of confusion, you probably stay awake the longest of everyone, but eventually sleep finds you, and just by the sheer fact that you're so tired and exhausted from your journey, you fall into a sleep as comfortable and deep as if you were in your late wife's arms. Qwig.
Qwig usually is thinking of a lot of things at the same time, but for the past few days his mind has been singularly on how helpless he has felt in combats, especially the last one where he feels like, oh, I'm so good at this one thing, I'm so good at illusion magic and manipulation of the mind, but in these instances where it like matters and he's like, I need to like help people, he feels like he can't do anything. And he sends out his spell and it's just gone, and he's trying to think of a creative way to like, oh, could I make a fun illusion to make this work? And it just couldn't work like that every time when it mattered. And so he's, he's just lying there awake for a while, fiddling with this new wand and thinking about all of these potential scientific discoveries that he wants to get up and start researching right away, but he's so tired. And he slowly just drifts off while thinking on that.
As you drift off, I will say you are kind of framing your own mediocrity and in consequentialness in the heat of battle. And so something the Scholar of Apatos says to you sticks out in that if this Fae is struggling to make an impact on the world, how can all of these Fae be meddling with the affairs of the ancient Appani and the Wood Elves? And what is it that they have that they can enact their will on the world, but you seemingly cannot? And you cannot shake the feeling that even though you have left the Fae Court, that perhaps your condition might be following you. And as you drift off to sleep, because you're exhausted, I will enable you in this moment. As you sleep, do you enable yourself to become attuned to the new wand?
Yes, that is all he's thinking about.
You unlock the latent capacity of this wand. It is called the Scepter of Apatos. It is a +1 arcane focus.
Ooh.
Nice.
So is that +1 to spell attack and save DC?
Correct.
Oh shit.
Damn.
Good.
And you also see that it has an innate ability inside it called Displacement. The crystal projects an illusion that makes the illusionist appear to be standing in a place a few inches from its actual location, causing any creature to have disadvantage on attack rolls against the illusionist. The effect lasts for 1 minute, and it ends if the illusionist takes damage, if it is incapacitated, or if its speed becomes 0. You may use this function once per day.
Sick.
So cool.
Lysandra.
My word. I think Lysandra, at this point, has been feeling the doll, with her, and has pulled it out and is just kind of playing with it in her hands. I think the first thing on her mind is, why was it down there? And whose is it? And then, as she's thinking about it, and she's sort of feeling the horns on it, the word demon comes back to her mind and is sort of echoing around in her head.
In this moment, you are reflecting on your purpose in the sense of what you actually want, because you have something in front of you that is an identifier. You also remember the scholar says that he did not know you or Feng in terms of... Wait, did the scholar say he didn't recognize the tiefling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet there was a tiefling doll here. Or maybe it was something that was a tiefling, or close to what a tiefling is in that time, but perhaps it's manifested differently. And so in a certain sense, you feel some sort of belonging and comfort that an object that has been given significance and love to someone, by someone, it gives you a slither of hope. But again, that term demon swims around in your head, and you two eventually fall into a shallow sleep with the rain and the owl slowly lullabying you to sleep. The next day, billowing fluffy white clouds caress the blue sky as you awaken. What is your plan for today?
Just quickly, do we lose one more level of exhaustion?
Yes, you wake up refreshed.
So, no, Qwig and Feng still have one.
Yes, yes. So Qwig and Feng are on 1, Lysandra and Louis are back up to their normal.
Can we sleep all day today, please?
If you want to.
I'm so tired.
Yeah, can we sleep for a day just to get going?
We deserve a day off.
We totally do.
Well, I mean, if you two want to stay here and rest up, I mean, we do have places to be and see.
Do we?
Well, if you two need to rest up and take a day to kind of recover everything, I know that Lysandra and I have places that we probably want to go to and check on and get some information, just see what's going on around the city if we want to take a day to just prepare and then jump into things once we have some more information.
You see the professor claps delightedly at this and says, "Oh yes, Qwig can help me take inventory."
Inventory.
That's so boring.
And you see Feng in the wet and the cold as a wildfire druid is definitely taking you longer to try and recover.
Yeah, fuck it. Feng gets a bed day. But Feng's not getting out of bed today.
Hell yeah.
Interesting you didn't ask about Cecilia. So,
Oh my god. There's like 428 billion things fucking happening right now. Are you seriously expecting me to remember that?
well, she's your pet, not mine.
She's not my pet. I had her for 2 fucking days.
Seems like their bond has waned.
Is Cecilia here or what?
You ask Irene and she says, Pappy hasn't said nothing about Cecilia coming home yet, but I guess the storm would have slowed her down.
Well, beautifully, we just long rested, so I prepared locate animals or plants. So I'm going to cast locate animals or plants and scream out, "Where's my Cecilia?"
What is the range on plants,
Well,
animals?
unfortunately, I'm going to read it out. I don't know if this is going to work, but you can rule how you want, DM. Describe or name a specific kind of beast or plant. Concentrating on the voice of nature in your surroundings, you learn the direction and distance to the closest creature or plant of that kind within 5 miles, if any are present. So technically I should learn where the closest mantelope is, but I'm specifically calling for Cecilia, so...
You can make me a nature check with disadvantage.
Okay, well I have disadvantage.
That's why I
already.
may say. Yeah.
That's a 5.
You see Irene starts to dab at your brow and says, "Y'all better scared. He's got a fever or something." He starts screaming about mantelopes. He's got that mantelope fever.
And he's one step out of the tent as well.
Yeah.
Just stepped out onto the street and screamed.
Screams Cecilia into the street of lava driven.
Dragging him back in.
And then he passes out.
Bed day.
Louis and Lysandra, are you traveling together or separately?
Louis will turn to Lysandra. Do you want company?
Yes, I would love company.
She slips a little hard candy into your hand and says, "Let's go, kiddo." Gives you a bardic inspiration to start the day off with.
Thank you.
As you push open the flap of the tent, you see it appears the storm has dissipated. While everything appears slick, wet, and soaked, there is an undeniable renewed energy in the city. The wood grains and bolts of fabric, historically faded and blurred by the ever-present dust and grime, now shine brilliantly. The echoes of cicadas and crickets fill the air, as species who've laid dormant for years now make the most of the current cornucopia of water. Children dash through the streets, screeching gleefully as vendors sell and push their wares to renewed and revitalized customers. Where space for tents is more limited, you see bolts and flashes of colours as wildflowers not yet seen spring up, from golden paper daisies, desert peas to sun orchids, all thriving and pumping out wave after wave of intoxicating pollens and aromas. The desolation of this place, in this moment, appears a distant memory. You appear before the place where Yellen's tent was, but you see that it is there no longer. Instead, there is a smaller tent occupied by a friendly dwarvish family from Verdant Peak. You inquire inside, and the two dwarvish mothers extend from the tent, introduce themselves as Cleo and Ravenna.
Cleo! Sorry.
Cleo.
That's exactly why I put that in. They turn to you and say, I guess you're looking for the Mother Yellen, yes?
Yes, we are looking for Sister Yellen.
Yes, I was going to say you should correct them.
Right, well, her and the Tears of Persephone have relocated to the Last Lagoon, at the invitation of Jarl Sigurd Scruff, no less. We have a few people inquiring about her here, but she's only made the move in a couple of days.
Thank you very much. We'll be on our way.
As you approach the gorge proper, you see the deep channels in the sand and ground through which the rains of the night before have carved. As you approach the bottom, you walk past carts and debris completely covered in mud and sludge. And as you reach the base of the gorge, you see the devastation has continued to most of the lowest echelons of the city here. There is little evidence of the squatters and vendors you are used to seeing, with anything solid seemingly washed away further down into the gorge. The lowest houses carved into the side of the wall can only be identified by the tops of doors and windows, as they have been inundated with mud and debris. The only familiar landmark that remains totally untouched is the ominous glowing red rift into Miss Miranda's saloon. Trying to ignore the devastation, you make a beeline to the Last Lagoon. I'll enable you both to make a perception check for me now. Lysandra.
That is a 4.
Louis.
Got a 17.
17. Even with that 4, Lysandra, the lagoon itself appears to be weeping, and Louis, you see this much more clearly. This space is much changed from when you left on your expedition. Gone is the clear blue water, lilies, and dragonflies, replaced with brown sludge topped with a thin, opaque film of dark yellow. In the very centre, you see the liquid is being agitated by the spring water beneath it, as if it is struggling to break through this suffocating blanket. Gone are the guards with their brilliant sunburst shorecoats, as well as the throng of miners and vagabonds. Instead, you see clusters of people in pale blue robes made from loose linen and royal blue trimmings. Across the far side of the lagoon, central to the plaza, you see the familiar Yellen's tent. With that perception check, Louis, you see a smaller figure from one of these groups, one of the vagabond children from when you first arrived in the city. You see he smiles and waves at you, and you also see a tattoo raindrop on his forehead. How do you proceed?
I think as we're walking up, Louis will kind of stop by the kid, kind of kneel down and be like, "Hey, kiddo, been a minute. How's everything been going?"
Oh, really great. Hey, are you one of those? Are you one of the friends of Furry Feng?
Yeah, he's a mate of mine.
Yeah, you know Furry Feng? Oh, he was great for us. He taught us how to light fire and keep ourselves warm. Can you do me a favor?
Sure thing.
Well, you need to tell him about the mother. She made it rain. She did. We don't have to work for the... And he says, pauses in this moment and says, "For the mistress anymore. You can tell him you don't have to work for her anymore."
The mistress?
Yeah. I have a new mistress now. And he points to the dewdrop on his forehead.
Who is your old mistress, if you don't mind me asking? I'm sorry, I'm still kind of new to the city.
Oh, I actually never got her name. She only referred to us as the mistress, but apparently she worked at the Septic Speakeasy.
Okay, no problems. Thank you.
Poor Feng has really only helped 2 NPCs with fire. The first one was Kukak, who he teleported with Promi.
Yeah.
Kukak then became a follower of Persephone.
Yep.
And then he lit a fire for this kid, who has now got the tattoo of Persephone on his face. So Feng's done.
We just
Sorry, Feng.
don't
have to
tell
know.
him.
You don't tell. Don't
Don't
tell.
let him know. It is a secret.
Hide this kid from face.
Literally, you have to.
Louis crosses her fingers behind her back and says, I promise I'll tell him.
Moving across the lagoon to the tent, Lysandra, you notice that it retains its meagre dressings. And as you push open the flap into the cool expanse, once again you see the Mother Yellen, attended by Qwig, obediently knelt to her right as she cradles her repaired stone bowl upon her barren reed mat. You see where the bowl has been cleaved in two by your shadow, she has repaired it with pure gold filigree.
Ooh.
Want me to wait outside or come in?
Can you please follow me? Just stop me from doing anything rash.
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, you're boring. Okay. You see Mother Yellen meets your eye as you walk in.
I think Lysandra just sort of folds her arms, stands up tall, trying to be proud, and speaks down to Sister Yellen and just says, "What did you do?"
You see the Mother Yellen chuckles to herself and says, Sandra, that's a very curt tone bringing it in here, especially on such a sacred day. Have you not seen the Mother of Rain has blessed us with her gifts? I do not do anything. I am merely a conduit of her will. And you, as you can see, and she gestures to the tent and obviously her surroundings, her will is great. How was your expedition?
It was an adventure. I've learnt a lot.
Have you learnt more about your conviction to your faith?
I've learnt a lot about many different things. My conviction, sure, but a lot about myself and my friends as well.
I see. As you know, the Jarl has postponed the election, but I see an opportunity here to extend the influence of the Lady Persephone further. I will only serve as a temporary custodian until one of my chosen from this city will take my seat in the next election. I have divined that the Jarl's sun is fading, the seasons know it, and so do the people, and they need a stronger hand to guide them, Lysandra. There is but one small hitch. The Jarl still has the right to invoke combat in defense of his claim, as the old laws allow, should he lose the popular vote. If I am to win, I am bound to do it fairly and by the laws and custom of this land. But just like the Jarl, I too have the ability to pick a champion. Lysandra, your purpose here is now clear. I see the Lady of Rain plucked a champion of Kastar to be the lightning hand of justice. I have already contacted the Priory and Feldspar, and they have sanctioned this most sacred charge upon you. Unite your sword with mine and bring Lal Udrud under the protection of those above and back into the hold. What say you, Lysandra?
I think Lysandra is taken aback in this moment, and I think she's dedicated to the Priory and its teachings and to Kastar, but with all these strange, I guess, revelations and information about, the Shadowfell, this doll, the owl, Shadow, it's not sitting right with her. The idea of now being trapped to serving something like the Guardian was protecting the Moongate. And she pauses for a moment and takes quite a deep breath, something that I think, Louis, you'd probably recognize as there's emotion behind this. And she remembers the word demon echoing around her head last night. And I think for the first time, you see her just very slowly undo her ribbon that's in her hair that has been so perfect the entire time. She takes it out, and her long blonde hair is now hanging loose, and she speaks up. No, you do not go behind my back and agree to do something like that.
You see the Mother Yellen smile widens. Well, Lysandra, as always, you seem to misunderstand your charge. It's not going behind your back. You are a servant, and we do as we are commanded. But it is clear that you are unable to follow commands. So, As the newly appointed Septon of Lal Udrud, mother of the tears of Persephone, you are hereby excommunicated from the Priory of Sky.
Ha!
Renounce your claim as Holy Knight of the Order of Kastar, remove your armour and your memorabilia. Should you wish to challenge my ruling, you are free to do so, with the Pontifex and the High Council in Feldspar. You are dismissed, Lysandra. And that is where we will end our session.
But good on you for standing up to her, because fuck her.
I was so ready to summon that echo and completely destroy the bowl again. That's the first thing I'm doing.
That ball's gonna be useful. Just gold.
Yeah, continue
Gold
the session,
ball at
just
the
break the
end.
bowl.
There's so
Literally.
little left.
I feel like her response would be, okay, and just starts taking her armor off.
Yeah, gets naked in the tent.
She's just
That's what
wearing
you want.
fucking...
Here's what you want.
This is what you want. Here's
Louis
my
has
shield
so many
now.
extra scarves and layers on, she can provide
Louis
extra
just
clothes.
starts covering her.
Louis, you've got Lysandra's sword. Which means you got to give it back.
I mean,
Well, do we?
does she
Bring it.
recognize that it's the
It's-
sword?
It's a prayer. I mean, Louis
It's the
wrapped
Priory of
it.
Sky sword.
She's wrapped it in scarves and things, but it's still evidently of the same build.
Yeah.
We'll see. Anyway, gang, do we have a selfless plug for this session?
I would like to shout out the power of friendship.
Finally.
I think I know where this is going.
So, when was it? 2 weeks ago, I think? When we finished recording, Amber and I, we carpool home. And so Amber dropped me off at my doorstep because we live 2 streets away from each other. And I got up the stairs, I did not have my keys. I knocked at the door, I rang the doorbell. My girlfriend and my housemate, neither of them woke up. My phone was dead, so I couldn't ring anyone. I was desperately, on my laptop, trying to get a hold of someone.
So bleak.
I was on my
Not the
doorstep.
laptop.
Phone dead as well?
Phone was dead, so I couldn't ring anyone.
Oh my god.
So I was on my doorstep for 45 minutes, and I eventually text Amber. I'm like, can you come pick me up? I need somewhere to stay.
Wait, was this the night of torrential rain?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Yes. So I got absolutely drenched. The lovely, lovely Amber came and picked me up in her car, set me up on her couch, and my poor girlfriend rang me at 1 o'clock in the morning being like, are you dead? I'm like, I sent you a message. But anyway, I would like to shout out the power of friendship and the immensely powerful virtue of sleep.
I excommunicate George's girlfriend. She's excommunicated.
That is
Don't believe that.
that is too deep a
That's-
scene for any D&D adjacent person.
DM, I think Amber deserves a level for that, to be
No,
honest.
that would give a polite smattering of applause.
Recording safe.
Thanks.
All right, thanks so much again for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our Instagram page at Down Under Dungeon Pod. You can find new episodes weekly on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We will see you then.
Goodbye for now.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.